Okay, so in this video, we are pitting the iPhone 15 against its own sibling, the iPhone 14. Let's go ahead and jump in. First things first, the all-new iPhone 15 here will run you $799, or let's just call it $800. That was also the price when the iPhone 14 here dropped. But in terms of design, it's essentially the same design you get. This is the 14, this is the 15. Even though the cameras look to be the same, the camera on the iPhone 15 here has been upgraded massively, right? This is actually a major point for the iPhone 15 here. Other than that, everything else on that back remains the same. Everything on the sides of both phones there remain the same. Volume breaker is still there. At the bottom, there's been a major change. On the iPhone 15 here, you get a USB Type-C port, USB Type-C port 2.0. Here on the iPhone 14, it's still the Lightning port. The speed is the same, however. The next thing that's going to be different actually is on the front display. On the iPhone 15, you will notice that now you have the dynamic island at the top there, as opposed to that big block, like I like to call it, on the iPhone 14 there. On top of that, the display on the iPhone 15 actually mirrors what you have on the iPhone 14 Pro, right? 2000 nits, 460 ppi. So it's more pixel dense than the iPhone 14 here. So it's a brighter display on the iPhone 15 when compared to the iPhone 14. Now, the pixel density actually remains the same, 460 on either one of these two phones. And on top of that, the refresh rate also remains the same at 60 Hertz. You have 60 Hertz here, 60 Hertz on the new one. Moving on to the camera, as I mentioned earlier, this is an upgraded camera on the iPhone 15 here. Now you have the main camera being that 48 megapixel found on the iPhone 14 Pro from last year, along with a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, as opposed to the 12 and 12, I believe, 12 megapixel main camera and 12 megapixel ultra wide on the 14. So this is a massive upgrade, and picture quality actually reflects that. Pictures, whether we're talking videos or actual photos, are better on the iPhone 14, on the iPhone 15, my mistake, compared to the iPhone 14 here. The next thing that's been upgraded is the chipset. On the iPhone 14 here, you have an A15 Bionic chip, whereas on the iPhone 15 here, you do have an A16 Bionic chip, which is the one that was found on the iPhone 14 Pro from last year. Now let's go ahead and move on to battery. The battery size on the iPhone 15 is actually larger than what you have on the iPhone 14. On the iPhone 15 here, you have a 3,350, I believe, 3350 milliamp power battery size here, as opposed to 3279 on the iPhone 14 here. So larger battery, actually lasts longer, slightly longer than here. By the way, I wanted to quickly share what my experience has been like using Anker's MagGo 3-in-1 charger, as I've already showcased in this video so far. Now, this baby is designed to cover your charging needs in a very compact way, right? Because you have the ability to charge your iPhone, your AirPods, and your Apple Watch all at the same time. So as you can see here, it's essentially a charging station, a pretty cool one, I should say. It is super portable. It charges your devices, including your phone, and it does so twice as fast as a standard wireless charging, and it's fully MagSafe compatible, matching, you know, Apple's original MagSafe speeds. And by the way, it can also charge non-Apple compatible devices, as you can see me test here, as a matter of fact, with my Samsung devices, especially Android devices that have MagSafe cases. Now, personally, I really just love the fact that it's so easy to handle, right? Given how compact it is. It can fit in so many different places without taking very much room, whether it be your desk in your office or your bedside or counter in the kitchen. I mean, look at it. It's really small. And despite being very lightweight, it actually does boast a pretty solid magnet. The build quality is essentially what you would expect from Anker, right? Similar to the other Anker products that I've reviewed on the channel in the past. So this is simply a very well-built device. And, you know, in short, this is definitely a go for me, especially as I continue to pack and take it with me in my multiple travels. I'm going to have some links in the description if you want to go ahead and check it out if you happen to be in the market for a charge. I'm also going to have a discount code for you to go ahead and take advantage of a discounted price at checkout. But anyways, going back to the chipset there, in terms of performance, I can't tell the difference. Except, of course, if you're running anything major or that's more CPU and GPU demanding, then you might be able to notice the difference. But to most people, I'm thinking to almost everyone, 99% of the population, no one will notice the difference from, you know, doing just your day-to-day task, running your regular stuff. You won't be able to notice the difference. It's really close when it comes to performance. Again, like I always like to say, iOS, the platform actually doesn't allow for you to really tap into the performance of the chipsets. They might get faster, more powerful every day, but you can never really get to use it. Let me just go ahead and give you kind of a quick recap and give you my take. If you're currently in the market for either one of these two, I'll say go for the iPhone 15 without hesitation, if you can, obviously. It's just a much better version of the iPhone 14 here. It's been upgraded in many ways. Better camera on the iPhone 15 here, and like noticeably different in terms of picture quality. Definitely good, better stabilization. Also, you do get a USB Type-C port, which is a more standardized port. The chipset is faster, a more powerful chipset here, meaning it's going to be supported longer than what you have on the iPhone 14 here. The display is a better display than what you have on the iPhone 14. Not only is it a better display, it's a more current Apple display, right? So the current generation of Apple devices have that, dynamic island. So those are just some of the things that you need to keep in mind if you are currently in the market for either one of these two. Keep in mind also, by the way, that either one will start at 128 gigs of internal storage, 6 gigs of RAM. Other than that, everything else remains more or less about the same, right? But anyways, that was just my take on this battle video. Are you currently an owner of either one of these two? Which one do you own? Share what your experience has been like using either one of these in the comment section. I will catch you in that comment section. Of course, make sure to like the video, share if you know anyone who'll be interested. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'm going to catch you in the comment section and in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.